Okay, this one is, I'm going to talk about someone that came into my life. Would have been three years ago, about 2021, 2022, I'm going to say. Things are a bit hazy. I keep all the details logged so that I can refer to it, but I'm still piecing a lot of exact things together. So this person, Nigel Lovegrove, comes up to me at the shops. Is where I met him. Now this is a person that I knew from school, high school. Not new as in friends, knew of, like someone that went to my school. It's not that we didn't talk. We did have a couple of interactions or whatever, but this isn't someone that was like a friend or anything like that. So he's popped up while I'm shopping, and strangely enough, just walked right up to me and says, "Oh, Leanne." I had no idea who it was. Didn't recognise him because it's been, oh God, we're going back to the 90s, okay? Long time. So I was kind of confused. There's no way he would have recognised me if he didn't know who I was. So it comes up to me, strikes up a conversation, wants to exchange details, and eventually we do connect and begin talking. And yeah, there's a lot here to unpack. During a couple of the phone conversations was a bit weird, almost like there are other people in the background listening in. So, that was all well and good. And then, in the same week or a couple of weeks later or whatever, I'm laying in bed, ready to go to sleep. I've sort of locked down the house, turned off all the lights. And my area was really quiet. It's sort of the same as this one. It feels that everyone's sort of sitting around focused on me, which is kind of strange. But it does sound a bit insane, but it is what it is. And yeah, so I'm laying in bed, not asleep, just got in bed sort of thing, laying there. And I hear somebody out the front, in my property, it was that loud, but they were talking quietly on a phone conversation. And I hear he's talking to a male. And there's possibly a female as well, maybe with him physically, or speaking to him while he's speaking to this other male on the phone. And this male says to him, "So are you going to do this?" And he agrees. He says yes. And then I hear, just before I go into all of this, I just want to sort of, I've probably said this time and time again, that this feral drama shit is the furthest from my normal reality. And really irks me, you know what I mean? Having to do all this kind of stuff. I just don't see any other way that I can tell my story. I just don't. I want to go into the details because I think the deception has been so deep and the manipulation has been so deep that there's nothing that's going to break that except for absolute truth. And I just have to be completely gloves off out there for that to happen. people need to understand that my son has been fully indoctrinated now, and this is a close relationship we used to have, very close relationship. I love my son very much, like any parent would know, and I will go into battle for him. I would take a bullet for him. So I'm doing this regardless of what he thinks about me now, because he's been manipulated over years, and I had been trying to fight that for the past couple of years, thinking stupidly that I could do that, you know, that I could bring him back to reality and remind him, you know, of the love that I have for him, regardless of what he's being told in his ear, because that's what they do to these kids. That's exactly what they do to these kids. And I've heard, and I quote, them saying, you know, your mum doesn't give a shit. That's a direct quote. So this is all going to be very colloquial, you know what I mean? It's that's what it is, and that's the way it has to be. And I don't really feel any kind of way about it. I'm doing this, and you know, I'll see how far I get. We'll see how far we get, because I really have nothing left except for this, and except for to stand here in stealth. Sorry, not stealth, strength. You know, stand up for this. And so yeah, some of the things that they tell these kids is your parents don't care. They're going to take care of them. I've even heard them say things like, you're a superstar, you're going to be a rock star, sort of thing. It's really sick. It's actually really sick and disgusting, and very hard to repeat, actually. But I'm shocked even at the strength that I've been able to muster to just do this. And like I said, there's been so much spiritual work that I've had to do to get to this point, to really beast up and do this, because you need a certain type of energy to battle this kind of energy. And there was a point where I was so angry and so full of fury that it was a dangerous level, you know. I mean, here's me, I've been through all of this pain, and this has happened to our family, and there's people out on the street who are laughing, and you know, I can't imagine anyone who can't see that is not going to trigger you into fits of rage, you know. So very long process of different types of spiritual healing, processing, working through things. So yeah, I'm going to talk about that, Nigel, and the part that he has played in this, because I think it's a very significant role, and I do believe he's directly connected to the night that my son's conscience was infected. Any way you want to look at it, somebody started communicating with my son telepathically, or channel, you know. Initially, I thought my son had an earpiece as well. There was talk of that I was hearing on my channel. And for anyone who hasn't heard me say that yet, I don't know who set it up, who gave access, how it works, okay, but I can hear this group communicating. Obviously, because they're connected to me somehow. Paul has attached himself to my conscious. That's a fact, because that's the first night that it happened, and it was just him. And it was just him for, I don't even know how long, until things changed. So I'm hearing him at the front step, having this communication, and somebody's asking him, are you going to do this? He's saying, yep. And then I hear him say, I hear a muffled voice or whatever, and then I hear him say, Sarah wants a new pair of shoes. This is a direct quote, an exact quote, and that's the reason I'm doing this, is kind of a key to truth. And whether people realize it or not, this is a fatal blow for them. This is an actual fatal blow that they've suffered because I've spoken about this. And it's what they don't count on. So, regardless of what happens to me, children need protecting. Alright, so after that, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna clear my head, start again. So he's up the front step, hearing this conversation, and then the next thing, I hear a man on the other end say, Sarah's not getting anything. I own this house and everything in it, including this kid. And that's an actual quote. So moving forward, I didn't actually realize that this was him, and this was something that I've obviously unconsciously picked up or remote viewed, because I wouldn't have entered into any kind of relationship with him had I thought that that was him. So we start seeing each other, and this is very out of character for me anyway during this whole time, but I'm thinking like there's no way anyone's going to come towards me and put themselves in that position, unless they're a beast like me and are prepared to, to go where they have to. So I was kind of telling myself that the whole time and thinking, like, there's no way anyone would do that. And then there was, he was going through some rough emotional stuff, and he called me a few times and just needed like a shoulder, and that's basically what I am and what I have been to most people who have ever been in my life. Unfortunately, there's none now, and I really don't think anyone's going to admit that now. So it is what it is. I don't expect anybody to have my back, ever. I have Jet's back, and I always will. And he's lost a lot. And I've done a lot of work trying to protect him from, or shield him from what he's been through energetically. Because you do, as a mum, you want to put yourself in that position and take that for them. So when this person was in my life, I met his mother, and a few strange things kind of going on there. One situation was I'm waiting in the car to pick him up, and he comes out, puts a few things in the car or whatever, and I was quite angry at the time. Not with him, I was angry of an event that just happened. Somebody on the street obviously cursing at me, or so I think I said something to that effect, that I was just at the shops and whatever happened. And so he's gone back inside to his mum, and I've heard him say, we've got to get what we can out of this girl before she ends up in prison or kills somebody. There's a couple of other instances, I guess. I mean, this person was dosing me as well. So, here, just have a little bit of Panadol or have a bit of this, to calm you down kind of thing. So this was someone I thought I could trust at the time. Oh, and while I'm on that topic, I just want to make it really clear that I'm not some sort of drug addict or anything like that. In fact, I'm not even smoking weed anymore. So we go out one night, apparently to meet one of his friends who runs a salon. I'm not sure, hairdressing. It's a salon, for women. I thought we were going out for dinner. So we're looking around the dining room, can't find her, and found her in the pokies, sitting there, been there most of the night, apparently well known. There was a moment where, she's sitting there with like a stack of $100 bills. I don't play the pokies, it doesn't interest me. I don't have the money to burn, for one, don't have the time to burn. So I'm sitting there a bit confused, like, really don't want to be here, but he goes over and snatches $100 off of her and says, "Oh, I'll take that," and then sort of whispers, considering it's hers. So yeah, I think this piece of shit is directly connected to what's happened here. Yeah, people should know that I want to get my hands on them. Like, this is not a game to me. It's my son's life. Then we go out to the smoking area, and we're sitting there having a conversation, and things turned really weird. Like, there was maybe 3 other people out there as well, men. And she says, really loudly, actually, which was really strange, like, "Oh, Nigel knows how to clean dirty money, don't you?" And she's like saying it really loudly, and all of a sudden these 3 guys walk in, and we're just left there on our own. And as we're walking in, he turns to me and says, "That guy's a cop, you know." Now, I didn't really say anything, I wasn't that interested. So the night went on, and she tells me that, she can't drive. She's had too much to drink. So would I drive her car back to her house, and Nigel could take our car and we'll go back there. Otherwise she'd have to call a cab and leave it there. And I said, "I'm really not, that keen on driving your car. It looks pretty fancy, leather interior and all this." And anyway, I agreed to do it. So we're driving there. Nice area. And the whole time, he was tailing us and getting really aggressive and stuff while we were driving along. And she was sort of laughing and saying, "Oh, he's just worried that I'm going to say something that I shouldn't," but didn't. Sang his praises, basically. So we get up to the house. Freaking 2-story mansion, mind you. Mansion. And we pull up. She goes in, and as I'm sort of getting ready to go in with Nige, I was waiting for him. near the car he was driving, our car, my car. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, let's let that come out. There's two people like leaving, speaking to her mum. Apparently her mum takes care of her children a lot. And I see her at school pickup, which I don't go to now, obviously. I've seen her at school pickup. This woman's mum picking up her child. There's two people coming out of the house. Young, I don't even know how old, 20s, 30s. Female, male. And the mother is kind of showing them out. And as we walk up to them, Nigel says to them, "Oh, what'd you think of the house?" And I knew straight away that these people knew him. Like, I could tell, and they were acting like they didn't know him. But I could tell. And she had this massive smirk on her face, and she said, "Yeah, it's beautiful." So we go in briefly, end up leaving, and as we're driving back, he's communicating with me, but sort of not like. And this moment is when I realized he's communicating with someone else, whether it's telepathy or any of these. He's actually been communicating with someone else, like, this whole time. Because he's sitting there, like, you know, with his head on the side, like, listening. And every time I spoke, he'd sort of touch my hand and say, "Oh, hang on." It's like the weirdest, like, as if someone is not going to pick up on this stuff. You know, when you're someone like me who's on it. Do you know what I mean? That's how stupid these people are. Like, that's how absolutely stupid they are. Like, through this whole thing, they've been showing their hands to me constantly. And the stupidity is off the hook. Like, I'm not even going to lie. The stupidity is mind-numbing. So we're driving back, and I think I said, "Oh, the house is like amazing." Well, he said, "You know, what do you think of the house?" I said, "It was gorgeous." And then he says, "Yeah, you're right. It's just a starter. Like, we'll get something way better than that." And I'm just like, "Oh, whatever." Like, he wasn't talking to me, obviously. So that was that night. And I think I've placed this same female again at the front of my house at Northfield in a black hatch. There was a day, where there's a black hatchback sitting out the front of my house. Now, often that happened. People trying to stir me up. Like, often that happened. And I'd go out, you know, I'm like, I'd just walk out and be like, "What the fuck are you doing in front of my house?" Like, I'd had enough. Absolutely had enough, you know? So I go out there and basically the same thing. And she's like, starts tearing and, "Oh, I'm just having a fight with my boyfriend," or something like this, like fake shit. And I just sort of like looked and turned my back and started to walk away, you know. I think she tried to diffuse it. And as I did that, I hear she's on a phone call. She's been on a phone call. And I hear a male talking to her. And he says, "So you sure you want to do this?" And she responds with, "No, I just wanted to see what an ugly mutt she was." So that was that. Which is kind of ironic because this bitch is average as shit. So, another moment was, there's a house he took me to in Gawler to look at. there was all this talk that he was going to buy a house. And, you know, this whole time through this whole relationship, my main focus was, I guess, getting more information. You know, from the beginning, I have been trying to explode this. From the beginning, like, I do not care. This is what it is. So all of this stupid talk that he used to talk about, and this person is obsessed with money. I picked that up pretty quick, and that's why I wanted to get rid of this like really quick as well. But I had to play my cards right and do that correctly, because this isn't someone who was going to detach themselves easily. Do you know what I mean? This could have turned, and did turn, into a dangerous situation. So he takes me to a house in Gawler. We had a pamphlet and everything, and looked at it. And the whole time I was like, well, you know, this is your thing. I'll be here and support you and everything. So we go to look at this place. It's a single level across from a river, runs through there, I guess. I can't think of the name of that river. Is it the Murray? Anyway, one of the worst days of my life. Absolutely one of the worst days of my life. And the reason is my son and what he felt on that day. He was so upset. And he tore the... just pause for a second. He tore the pamphlet up in the car, like ripped it up. And this is another one of them moments where I just wanted to grab him, you know, and just fly away. And, yeah, torch this piece of shit in the process for doing that. It's not, and I don't mean that. There's much more. So yeah, extremely painful day that was, because even going back and looking back on that, just feeling that pain from my son, who, you know, kids are connected at a higher level as well. They know energy, and so we go to this house at Gawler. We're looking around, really nice. Spa out the back, and then the back had steps going up. So the house was kind of stepped down on a hill type thing. And you went up steps at the back to like a big yard area, and he's talking about, oh, put a pool in here and all this, and like whatever. So, you know, I was just there supporting him, riding through this whole thing. I mean, we're here now, so he's walking around with a walking stick at this time, which is also really strange. Like, this is a guy that assaulted me and threw me around like a rag doll at the front of my house, and with intent to kill me. He's walking around with a walking stick, and I didn't realise it at the time, but I'm thinking now it was probably posing, putting on some sort of act. That was part of a narrative they were pushing. So, which is actually my walking stick that belonged to my grandfather. Actually, I don't suppose my grandfather's. Anyway, I have two in the cupboard that I've acquired from having a bad back at one stage. So he's walking around with that, and the guy sort of has some papers on the counter, and we're standing there with this man who's selling. And Nigel's saying to him, oh, and make sure that the owner knows that I want all the furniture as well, which is kind of strange. And he signs something. And the guy says, yeah, I'll put it to them. So we leave. Now, I think This person is connected to prostitution, and there is a direct connection between this prostitution ring and the pedophile situation. Some of these kids get indoctrinated into this kind of thing. So a lot of sick, just disgusting stuff when this guy was around. There was another night where he's across the road. So I'm sitting up the front and it's all quiet. And of course, if anyone projects their energy towards me, you know, if someone's thinking about you, talking about you, their energy stream is coming toward you. It's open, all right? So generally, you can pick up on that. And that's how, you know, I picked up on a lot of these conversations because they were about me. The energy was all coming at me. It was wide open. It's like the hairs on the back of your neck stand up and you have access. So there was another night where he's across the road, and I know he was because I remember the sound of the car. He put in some sort of reversing beepers, and I did hear that, and immediately I knew, but then I heard them talking, and that was confirmation. So he's across the road at the Oval. Female is kind of shuffling across in the dark, across the park, towards the car. I don't think they thought I could see any of this, because I was inside the house and then outside the house, like I wasn't just sitting there with eyes on them. And I'm hearing him say, I just want to get a full tank of petrol and drive my car into the side of this girl's house. And she's saying, oh, it's not worth it, and all this. And this is the confusing part. I have no idea what this guy's beef is. I actually have no idea, unless he's part of that basically wanted to remove me. But that to me kind of sounds personal, so still confused about this. There was another night, and people probably need to know that what I've picked up is police pulling people over for conversations. You know what I mean? So I've heard people being pulled over by police in my area, but not being booked, actually having conversations. So I hear a car being pulled over by the police. Super quiet. It would have been like 1 or 2 in the morning. And these people they would never in their wildest dreams think that I was intercepting these conversations, that I was able to hear that. Like, no way. Because some of the things I've heard are just like redonkulous. So it's him with a female, because I can hear her as well. And this police officer is asking them to take a picture of him and his car. I thought this was really weird. So whether or not it was a police car and another car that pulled them up, or it was a undercover, whatever. I thought that was strange. Anyway, I'm just relaying it as it was. So the officer is saying, we'd take a picture of me with my car. And he's like, why? What do you want? And then the girl with him says, what do you want us to take a picture of you? And he's like, I want to show this girl what car I'm driving with the money I've made off selling her. You probably know what I'm about to say. There's a bit more of a conversation, and then the officer says to him, well, why are you still hanging around this girl's house? And then he says something to him, which... And he says, okay. Are you still going to help us when it comes time to pick up this kid? And Nigel says, find someone else, the kid hates me. Direct